do today. Also, check out our website, lakeherrittspiritualcommunity.org, and you'll see all kinds of things happening here in person now, as well as on YouTube and on Zoom. So something every day. Check it out. So the theme is embracing discomfort. So when we think about discomfort, we think about just this little irritation, right? It's not really pain. Maybe we're embarrassed about something. Maybe we're unsure about something. It's just sometimes a place that we want to escape from, and we don't exactly know what it is and know how to define it. But we know that we're uncomfortable. When we talk about the word embrace, though, then we're putting our arms around something, and we are fully, enthusiastically taking something and nurturing it in some way with ourselves and with our being. So then if we put that all together and we're embracing our discomfort, then we're taking the next step. We're now stepping into our discomfort, and we're freeing ourselves, and we're giving ourselves an opportunity to grow. So in physical strength training, we talk about, no pain, no gain, okay? In spiritual and mindful training, we really talk about that discomfort can change us. It can charge us. If we get comfortable with our own strength, we can visualize our power and transform. So a real extreme example, some of you know that I have a nursing background, so I like watching medical shows. Grey's Anatomy. So there's this intern that's just starting to get comfortable in the hospital setting. And, she's got all the staff that surrounds her that can support her. She's got all this fancy equipment. But her resident taps her on the shoulder and a couple of other physicians and says, there's a disaster down the road. It's kind of like when our bridge collapsed, in Minneapolis. There's a disaster, and we're going to go out there and save lives. So they burst out of the ambulance, and the resident says, okay, now go save lives. And she's like, ugh. And if any of you have ever been involved in triage, you have to very quickly, when you see the 100 bodies around, decide, this one might be no longer with us, and I can't help them. This one could probably get to where they need to go on their own or with somebody else's assistance, and this is the person I need to help right now. So there was a guy that was pinned under something, and his construction worker buddies were with him. And she could see as she examined him that he was starting to have intracranial pressure, which is swelling of the brain, and was pushing up against his skull. And all she has was this stupid black bag that, had alcohol swipes and bandages and, little stuff in it. And she called her surgeon at the hospital and described the situation. And he said, okay, do any of those guys have a drill? And it's like, okay, guys, do you have a drill? Yep. So she dipped that drill in alcohol, and while she was on the phone with the head surgeon, she burred 3 holes in his head to relieve the pressure. She did it just right, didn't go too far. She aced it. She took that discomfort, she really stepped into it, and she saved lives, and she really came into her power. Now that's an extreme example. Instead, what do? We stay in our comfort zone, okay? So for comfort, we have our comfortable routines, our comfortable friends who have the same opinions as us. We eat comfort food. We avoid uncomfortable conversations. And we avoid doing things that we don't do well. And so all along, what we do is we set up our entire life in this path of least resistance. And so what do? We stop growing. We stay with that known instead of branching out. There's an old story about a criminal that created a very bad crime, and he goes to his king for punishment. And the king says, okay, you can hang by this rope, or you can choose that scary iron dark door, and I'm not going to tell you what's behind it. And it looked really scary. So the criminal chose the rope, okay? And as the king is about to put the rope around his neck, the criminal says, by the way, what's behind that door? And the king said, you know, almost everybody chooses the rope. Behind that door is freedom. Behind that door is freedom. Yes. So he stayed with the known and wasn't really willing to venture out into that unknown because he thought it could be scarier. So instead, if we embrace our insecurities and we do it in a way so that we don't dump our judgment on other people, we don't dump on ourselves, we don't blind ourselves, but we open up. We allow ourselves to see the opportunity that's right in front of us. So, I always like to start out with an exercise that helps us get rid of stuff that no longer serves us. So I invite you to stand up. So before we can embrace discomfort, we do have to get rid of some of that junk that we are entrapped by. So I invite you to have your feet slightly apart, knees very, very slightly bent, hands down, and just take a couple of deep breaths. And take your hands and put your thumbs at the base of your skull on both sides of your spine, on either side of your spine, and rest your hand on top of your head. And embrace your head. And while you're doing that, breathe in for 7 breaths and out for 10, the count of 10. In the count of 7 and out the count of 10. And as you're breathing out, think that you're breathing out first fear. Then breathe out anger. Then breathe out guilt. And breathe out anything else that you are holding on to that no longer serves you, that keeps you from embracing more things that can help you grow. Keep breathing it out, just like getting rid of that carbon dioxide. Breathe out anything else that you no longer need. Hands off of your head. And one hand to your chest, tapping that thymus. This is where a lot of anxiety sometimes rise. And just tap it. And breathe out anything that you've been anxious about. Whether it's been this last hour, this last day, this last year, your whole life, just breathe it out and tap it out. And make sure you still remember to breathe. Okay, hand off the thymus and shake those hands. And just pretend you're shaking off everything that doesn't serve you either. Just flick it off of the end of those fingers, just like it's goop, okay? Just flick it off, flick it away. Breathe it out, shake it out, get rid of it. as though your hands had water on them and you're just flicking that away. Anything that doesn't serve you. Any thoughts, any illness, any pain. Okay. And then with hands above your head and those knees bent and the wrist limp, kind of pointing to your head, just bounce. We're bouncing the entire body. So Qigong, we're doing some Qigong movements, and Qigong is about moving energy, right? Moving stuck energy. Or in medicine, we've got positive and negative ions, right? It creates energy. It creates really the ability for all the things in our body to be able to function. And so we're moving stuck energy, we're energizing, we're envisioning everything becoming free and becoming loose from above our head, through our bodies, to our feet, and pushing down into Mother Earth anything that no longer serves us. Okay, we're going to pause. Point hands up to the sky. Breathe into the air, into the atmosphere, this beautiful spring day. And bring all of that fresh air slowly down past your head, your throat, into your heart. And send love to yourself and kindness to yourself. And I invite you to have a seat. So, it can be said that life begins at the end of our comfort zone, okay? So we're never more alive than when we push beyond that comfort zone and take advantage of life's gifts. So whenever we jump outside, we do move forward. And it's actually freeing, right? When we drum up that strength and that braveness to be able to be vulnerable, open, unsure, and then we can take advantage of life's gifts, right? We can experience deep love, trust, joy, and belonging with others. So Spanish was the first language I learned when I was a kid because my grandmother, who didn't speak English, was involved in raising me. And when Grandma left, my Spanish left with her. And so I always had a really good ear for Spanish, but I really spoke lousy Spanish and still do today. But I used to go on these trips where you would work on kids that had cleft lips and palates as a volunteer. And I was in Venezuela and alone on a medical surgical unit where we'd get the kids after surgery, and I was going to teach a class. It was going to be very simple. I knew enough Spanish for that because medical Spanish is pretty black and white. And I was going to teach the parents how to clean the lips after surgery when they went home. And so I started teaching, and people were giggling in the room, and I couldn't really understand what the giggling was all about. And there was another nurse next to me who spoke very good Spanish, but I wanted to try to do this on my own. And I looked at her like, what's going on? And she said, you know, in Spanish, the words lips and labia sound very familiar. And so the parents knew what she had just told me, and I could have chosen to just be devastated, but instead I just broke out in a laugh. And with that laughter, everybody else laughed too. Okay, and I was vulnerable. I made myself vulnerable, right? I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. But by looking stupid in front of others, and instead of looking like this superior person from the United States that knew what was best for everybody, in that moment, it's kind of became a community. And I did the other post-op teachings, you know, the other days too, and this time I learned how to pronounce it right. But we could always joke about how I mispronounced the words every time. And it meant that the parents felt comfortable coming up to me, and it also meant that they felt comfortable speaking their lousy English because my Spanish was just as lousy. So it really opened up doors. So when we're kind to ourselves, and we go to unfamiliar situations, we take on challenges and opportunities just sort of pop up. And then we're better prepared for things that are unexpected, like COVID. So there's another example just down the road, the 4100 block of Colfax. You may have read about it in the newspaper. Somebody last March, during the height of really darkness of the pandemic, so last March 2020, somebody on that block said, you know, let's do a sing-along tonight. Everybody on this block, let's just sing it out. You know, we're all uncomfortable, we're all uncertain, we don't know what's going to happen here. We don't know how long we're going to be in the darkness. Let's just do a sing-along. And they did. And they sang all kinds of songs, you know, songs that are, you know, singing through the hard times, Let It Snow, all kinds of really good songs. And they got comfort with each other in their discomfort. And lo and behold, they decided, you know, we like this so much, we're going to sing together every night. So every night at 6 o'clock, all throughout 2020 and much of 2021, that block got together at 6 o'clock and sang. They lived in their discomfort together, also finding comfort together. So when we're in our comfort zone, we're in this really very, very narrow state. And so when we step out of it and we expand our discomfort, we actually increase our comfort zone because we're adding more stuff to it. So when we travel to a foreign country and we don't speak the language, or we talk to people that don't have our same opinions, or we try something new, we really are expanding our comfort zone without knowing it, because then we get comfortable with that and it's even bigger. And so we get bigger, we get more powerful. So we've had a lot of social and political unrest, as well as healthcare unrest, economic unrest, and probably many of you have also had personal unrest this year. You know, it's been a tough year for many, and many of us have been reactionary, which has sometimes created a snowball effect and sometimes has made things even worse. By being reactionary, we haven't really opened up our heads and our hearts as much as we can, although many of us also have been doing our work this year. But John Kennedy said, too often, we enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. Okay. And Amanda Gorman, this beautiful poet at this year's inauguration, I don't know if any of you heard her words, but she said, somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. There's always light. If only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it. So we can expand our consciousness. I invite you to stand up for our next exercise. Okay. So, again, feet slightly apart, knees slightly bent. Okay. Put your thumbs to the space in between your eyes. Then breathe into it. Kind of that third eye area. Thinking about expanding our consciousness, and we're going to just do some poses. Stay still in our power and our strength. Focusing our mind and our consciousness. Thinking of the light that's right before us. The light that's expanding from our forehead to the tips of our fingers upward and outward. Opening our hands, taking our energy from us out, standing with our arms wide open, opening ourselves to all the good that can come our way. And now turning to one side and looking up and just noticing what you see. Keeping that pose. Being observant. You could be seeing in the sanctuary that beautiful dome. You could be seeing the cracks in the ceiling, the cracks in the ceiling in your home. But you're observing. You're alive. You're embracing this moment. And then turn slowly to the other side, seeing what you see up above. All the beauty and all the cracks. Back to center. Arms midway down. And now, arms out, pushing your chest forward, pushing your heart forward. You opened up your mind, now let's open up your heart. Expand your heart. Push that heart out beyond your comfort zone. Imagine it way out there. A giving, loving heart extending from yourself to everyone else in this room, in your home, in your neighborhood. And slowly bring those hands together. And as if you're coming home. And one more time, expand again, holding that chest out in openness and love. Exposing yourself to deep love, joy, trust, making yourself vulnerable so you can expand. Take those hands and twist so that your palms are up. Bend down at the waist with the hands up, palms up. Looking down now at Mother Earth. And just giving thanks to Mother Earth, the green grass that's growing today, by the way. It is getting green here in Minnesota. Yay. But give thanks to this ground that you are standing on Mother Earth. She grounds you. She gives you the opportunity to experience all the discomfort that sometimes we don't want to experience, but we can do it in human form. That gives us great power and great ability. So different from the spiritual form, very, very, very special. So think of taking advantage of every minute you have here with Mother Earth. Now slowly stand up. Take the palm of one hand and point it down to Mother Earth. Slowly raise the other hand. Palm up. To the sky, to the heavens. And think of yourself now as this bridge between heaven and earth. That conduit of goodness, the energy flowing through you from one hand to another, to Mother Earth, back up from Mother Earth to that hand, through you, out your hand, and out to the heavens. Creating one. Now slowly reverse your hands. Again, being a channel for all that you want to bring into your life when you expand your discomfort and expand your comfort zone. And bring your hands slowly together and to your heart. Give kindness and love to yourself. And I invite you to have a seat. In some of the Zen philosophies, they teach us to embrace pain, embrace our discomfort, because we know that we're more than that. We know that we're more than that. And Thich Nhat Hanh once said, like a mother, when a baby is crying, think of your discomfort as your baby. Go back, embrace it, recenter it, and understand the nature of our discomfort. Take the time to understand what that discomfort is all about. And be kind to yourself as you're working through it, because sometimes while you're in that discomfort and you're thinking through why, you may be going through all kinds of other things that you would really rather not look at. And so if we take care of that wounded child inside of us and that discomfort, we can transform it. We'll see ourselves and the world in a different way. And we'd be touched by life without being consumed by that fire, because we understand then that fire that's within us. So Nelson Mandela is an example, an extreme example, of someone who stayed in his discomfort zone for a long, long time, right? He was in prison for 28 years. So I'm not just talking about us who've whined this year because we've had to stay home because of COVID and we couldn't go to our favorite restaurant, okay? That's not it. Of those 28 years, he spent 18 years on an island called Robben Island off the coast of Africa, South Africa. And there, he had no bed, no plumbing. 18 years. He had no other choice but to truly embrace his discomfort. And so there's a lot of soul searching that happens, okay? So a lot of soul searching, review about his life, what he did right, what he didn't do right, what he might be ashamed of, what he had to work through, and that is where he learned how to be kind to himself. The other thing that he had to do was now do a lot of forgiving, okay? And work through all of that. Whatever the anger was, whatever the bitterness was, work through it. Think through everyone in his life, everything in his life that he might have been angry about. Just even about his state of being, he had to really work through just being this way for who knows how many years, an indefinite period of time. And so when he got out, as you know, he became president, South Africa, and he developed the philosophy of making friends of his enemies. He really was able to transform himself. That room that he was in for 18 years served as a crucible for him, for his personal awakening. And so what did he do? He became a very gracious man. He invited his prison guard to his presidential inauguration. I mean, talk about being able to forgive and really take advantage of that moment. So life's gifts are often wrapped in sandpaper, as much as we don't like it. And temporary discomfort pales really in the face of long-term awakening. And so when we embrace that discomfort as our teacher, magic happens. We can transform. I invite you to stand up one more time. Our last time for standing up. And same stance, feet slightly apart, knees slightly bent, hands at the side. remembering to breathe. Raising our hands up. And now what we're going to do with these exercises is we're going to do some movement to blend our energies, to blend together all of these concepts, to infuse light and love to everything we do. Now take one foot, put it slightly in front of you, kind of at a wide stance so you feel sturdy and steady. And now we're going to just clear the air by moving our arms, opening up the skies, cleansing the air around us, the space around us. So we can see clearly in front of us. We had rain yesterday and clouds, but today there's sunshine and we can see clearly. Okay. And the other side, same thing. And same movement. Qigong is about balance too. The yin and the yang, the male and female, the positive and negative, the discomfort and the comfort. Clearing the clutter and opening. Okay, come back to center. And with your palms up, we're going to bring energy and love to you. So sort of a backward swim, slowly. Think of everything you want to bring towards you as you're expanding your comfort zone. Reaching out to more opportunity and learning and bringing it in. And imagining yourself growing stronger with everything that you bring towards you. Okay. Now, one hand in front of the other. About 4 inches. And we're going to take your hands up and down. And you're going in a circle, a sphere, with one hand passing the other. Sort of blending all of your energies. From top to bottom, kind of smoothing out those feathers. And knowing that you're greater than your discomfort, it's just a part of you. It's a beautiful part of you. Because we're blending that with all that is good with you, all that's beautiful about you. All that's beautiful about the world. There's a lot of beauty here. Not only are you doing this in front of yourself, but imagine this healing and offer it to the world. We're that powerful collectively. So in this moment, be mindful of how powerful you are, and let's all just think of healing ourselves and the world. Okay. Hands out in front of you. And now that same movement that we did before, but more flowing, where we open up our chest and breathe in all we want to breathe in, and come home. Breathe in all that is good. And pull it together. Building that energy of love from your heart, and everything that you have just cleared in these movements, all of that positivity, focused and centered, surrounded by your open heart and your open arms. Your open heart and your open arms. Okay, come to center. We're going to take our hands and just start out in a very, very small circle. Gradually making that circle slightly bigger and bigger. Expanding that discomfort zone while you're actually increasing your comfort zone. Way out there, that circle as big as you can make it. And one more time, and just stop when you're at the top of that circle. And reverse that circle, making it gradually smaller and more focused, more meaningful, useful. Because taking our awakening and now actually doing something with it is where we really can make an impact. Okay, that small focused circle, with your hands out, hold on to that focused energy. And give it love. And wish it well. And now take that and give it up into the universe as a gift of love from you to everything that is. And now imagine that now the sky's giving back. Imagine light and love bouncing back from what you just gave. Point your hands down towards you, shining that light. And bring it back towards you slowly. To your heart. And to your belly. So you feel in your core love. Okay, I invite you to sit down for a meditation. This will be a guided meditation. And then when I chime the cymbals at the end of the meditation, we'll then have a song on YouTube, and you can read the words, and it will help pull it all together. So I invite you to get comfortable, feet flat on the ground. I like to have my hands in my lap with my fingers up. Some people like to put their thumb and middle finger together. I like to put the my tongue up to the roof of my mouth as I'm breathing. But those of you that are experienced and have your own method, do whatever you like and whatever feels comfortable to you right now. But just start out with a few breaths. And we're going to start out with a silent speaking meditation and then go to a silent meditation. So, breaths. And as you're breathing in through your nose, imagine that air going in your nose into your lungs, from your lungs into your circulatory system, flowing through your arteries, up your veins. That warm breath, that warm air, surrounding you with love and light. And with the next breath, imagine light surrounding the outside of your body. Warm, protective light. Like a womb surrounding your head, moving down your back, your buttocks, the backs of your legs, over your feet, up the front of your legs, your belly, your chest, surrounding you up to the top of your head, and you feel full of light inside and out and safe and comforted. And now imagine not only that light surrounding you, but loving, loving, loving arms from behind, embracing you lovingly, barely touching you, but embracing you, holding you in kindness and in comfort. And just feel that warmth. And now imagine you're looking forward and up. That light extending from you out into the universe. And imagine that embrace opening up so you could step out, beaming your light out there, joining with the light that is out there. And just sit here in this moment of light, embracing opportunity and everything you can be.
see where it's going, I'll cool my heels and start slowing. I learned to sit with not knowing. I'm learning to live with what's next. What if in my best guess, kinda when it's a crisis, I'm learning to live with what's next. Here's a clear space that I've chosen, where the denseness of this world opens, where there's something holding steady and true, regardless of me or you. I'm learning to live with the high stakes, befriending my mistakes. Lay my hand where my heart aches. I'm learning to live with high stakes. Here's a clear space that I've chosen, where the denseness of this world opens, where there's something holding steady and true, regardless of me or you. Takes time, the ribbon across some finish line. Stop feeling I'm always a day behind. I'm learning to live with what takes time. I'm learning to sit with not knowing, when I don't see where it's going. Cool my heels and start slowing. I'm learning to sit with not knowing. I'm learning to sit with not knowing. I'm learning to sit with not knowing.
Us. Thank you. Thank you for all that we have. Thank you for being able to experience discomfort in very, very human ways so that we can expand. And as we walk out these doors today, whether it's this sanctuary or our homes, to go out there in the beautiful light, let's remember to spread our light to all we see. Aho. Thank you.